Will it be love or hate at first sight? Kamala Harris, who I must remind you, I have to say this, Dan Borowski, as we begin, because I must remind you that Kamala Harris is the current Vice President of the United States of America.
Wait, what? No,
yeah,
she is?
Yeah, she's not new.
I forgot.
Did you know that?
That's been memory hold for some reason. Oh.
So I needed to remind you of this, that she's the current.
Are you sure, Dawn?
She's not new. She's not shiny and new.
Just want to make sure. Are we sure on that?
She's here. She has been here.
Really?
I want to unburden you
okay.
by this. So Kamala Harris, VP, former President Donald J. Trump, stage is set. So all of the pregame activities begin, 7 p.m.-ish. Our own Dom Giordano will be breaking it down for you. He's right on the inside, and we'll bring you all that. And Dan, you'll be working it too this evening, right?
Yeah, I'll be working remote from home, watching the debate, taking notes, and recording that live, but also Dom working that spin room. Tune in to Walter Sterling tonight. There'll be live drop-ins from Dom from the spin room as he talks to some people out there.
Look forward to that. So it's a big night and a big day for Philadelphia. We'll talk about all of it. And moving forward, of course, I'll talk about the traffic and commuter nightmare that is set to unfold. You've been warned if you've been listening, but we do have the Phillies with Ranger Suarez on the mound, 6:40 p.m., as we have all of these road closures and rolling road closures that will be taking place. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll talk about all of that and the traffic seriously and let you know about that. We do have real, oh, my goodness, just heartache and heartbreak. And we will update you on the situation with Johnny and Maddie Goudreau and their widows, and news that broke yesterday during the beautiful commemoration and church service as many prayed for them. And those GoFundMe pages and donations continue to flow in, and a lot of love and prayers, a lot of just a heartbreaking situation. And we learned more. So we'll update that for you. It is Election Day locally in Delaware. Polls opened at 7 a.m., closed tonight at 8. We have all of that. And I'll be pointing out to you just some of the fake news, as well as how the media is covering, in particular here in Philadelphia and beyond, and referring to Trump v. Harris. We'll get into that. But one of the big issues, so we know that there are going to be demonstrators and protesters. Some pro-life protesters will be outside greeting Trump, and as well critical of Harris's views on abortion. So Trump supporters rallying there. And on the other side, we will have those Palestinian, pro-Palestinian supporters there who are critical of Harris, apparently, as these are anti-Israeli protesters out there. So we'll see what impact the protesters and demonstrations on the outside, what impact do they have on the questioning of by the hosts to Trump and Harris. That's one thing we're watching. Surely, though, the issue of illegal immigration will arise as you have Kamala Harris, who is the current Vice President of the United States, and she was dubbed, and we have all the clips of the media calling her the border czar. What does she have to say about her job as border czar and with the current administration? So that's one of certainly the questions that will go to Trump v. Harris. And that really puts us to this issue that's going on in Ohio. And there's some fake news, I'll acknowledge that, but I want to break this down for you because there are people who say that they are witnesses to what's going down in Ohio. And so we want to take you through this, and we want to really sift through fact v. fiction and why we think that people feel like they have to go to the extreme to say illegal immigrants are eating your kitty cats and your pets. What?
It's ridiculous.
That is something that is headlining, and it has been spiraling out of control on social media for the past, what, Dan, 22 hours, something?
24
hours?
So, yeah.
So there are facts, and then there's fake news, and there's fiction, and then there's the whole spin. So where do you want to start? Because Dan found some audio.
Let's start from the start. There's a guy, a citizen journalist, is Alfredo Pastadon's his name on Instagram, and what he does is he's on YouTube often, and he travels around Ohio area talking to people in blighted areas, and spends a lot of time in Springfield, Ohio. And at a city commissioners meeting, he stands up, and the words here is what spurns the entire meme that we hear. And It's pretty bad. Like, why are we going and saying that Haitians are, sacrificing cats and all? But the thing is, in this commentary, this guy mentions that he saw in his reporting a Haitian immigrant grabbing a duck by the neck and beheading it.
He's claiming he witnessed it.
He's claiming he witnessed it, but again, this is secondhand reporting. You can only trust as much as you can, But in his commentary, and what's being forgotten through this whole thing is that the media has really focused on one aspect of that, and that's the ridiculous nature, and it's been turned into memes and such. But the guy had a really genuine point in his words, and you can hear it, and he says it before he just makes an offhand remark about the ducks. Take a listen.
You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants, because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them.
So I will say this, that is not his main point here. He's actually there, right, Dan, to speak out about the issue of services and how that they're being inundated and overwhelmed, and they can't serve the residents there of Springfield and the residents of Ohio and legal United States citizens because they're inundated with folks coming here illegally.
Yep.
That's the bottom line, right?
Yeah, so Tyler Oliveira, he's a YouTube journalist. He actually went out to Benefits Plus, Ohio Means Jobs. It's a jobs office out there near Springfield, and spoke to a veteran who was standing outside to hear what the situation's been there as immigrants have flooded into Springfield. Take a listen.
Do you think the town's taking care of their local residents that were here first and foremost?
Oh, no. Hell no. I've been trying to get just a simple Medicaid card since June. They took me off I'm a vet. They took me off of the disability and
Military
made me start
veteran.
paying for my own disability. They so backed up in there, they didn't ask me for the same information 3 times, and I done gave it to them 3 times, and they still sending me the same letters. So it's frustrating. So I had to give them proof of income and disabilities and stuff. I gave them all that. They still ain't did nothing.
So you're a veteran, and you're competing with some of the resources they're getting?
Yeah.
Who just came in here?
Yeah.
Does that make you feel some type of way?
No, I feel like this here, being a vet, I say that America, we once had the slogan, the melting pot, give us your hungry, your poor, et cetera, et cetera. This is a place where everybody's supposed to be able to make it, man. It's not that I have anything against anyone. This America, you dig what I'm saying? But I'm saying that the things that, the hoops they make us jump through can have you turn on each other in a sense, or say negative things. I don't have anything that's negative to say or bad to say about anybody Haitian. Sure. You know what I mean?
Do you think the town's taking care of their local residents that were here first and foremost?
Oh, no. Hell no.
So just to confirm that Springfield police, they have said that they have not received reports related to any pets being stolen and or eaten. That the police are saying we know nothing about this. So that's for the record. But I think this gentleman, who's a United States military veteran, served our nation, he's very diplomatic in what he's saying. That he's saying, this is not about anybody else. This is just not fair. And so I think that he's a kind-hearted man who's just upset that as somebody, especially who served our country, he's being shoved to the back of the line, essentially. Do you want to go to J.D. Vance speaking on the issue of resources? And this was months ago, Senator Vance talking about resources being depleted because Ohio can't, and this really is across the nation. We've heard many, many communities across the country say, we're not ready for this. We heard this in New York. And that precipitated the Trump rally, if you recall, which was kind of shocking to a lot of people. But we see municipalities across the country which are inundated. They can't handle all the services, and it's inundating the schools. Think about back to school right now. So here's Senator Vance speaking on the issue.
Chairman Brown, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to submit a letter for the record from the city of Springfield in our state, the southwestern part of our state, which I think highlights a very real example of this particular concern, straight from the horse's mouth itself. Now, this letter, I want to quote from it. Springfield has seen a surge in population through immigration that has significantly impacted our ability as a community to produce enough housing opportunities for all. Springfield's Haitian population has increased 15 to 20,000 over the last 4 years in a community of under 60,000 previous residents, putting a significant strain on our resources and ability to provide ample housing for all of our residents. And end quote there. And Mike.
No objection. So
thank you. In my conversations with folks in Springfield, it's not just housing. They're trying to build 5,000 new housing units, which is a very Herculean task in a town of about 55,000 people. But it's also hospital services, it's school services, there are a whole host of ways in which this immigration problem, I think, is having very real human consequences.
So he very professionally and methodically is pointing out the statistics. These are the facts of the case. This is a community that's being inundated and overwhelmed and simply cannot afford it. And this is under the Biden-Harris administration. I think it's unfortunate, to be honest, that somehow this spiraled into cat memes everywhere of kitty cats and allegations of cats being eaten by folks, and that's just horrible. But that's, in my take, I think people are frustrated and they feel like, hey, nobody cares about us, the fact that we can't afford this, we're inundated. But, if we put pretty little furry kitty cats and we put that out there, suddenly people will care. They don't care about people. They don't care about children going back to school and the services that are just bursting at the seams. They can't afford it. They can't handle the influx of this many people. And so they have to go to cat memes.
Yeah.
And that's sad and it's unfortunate, but it's important to track this.
It's more commentary on your, liberal bias of the media, because here you have a situation in immigration where you have asylum seekers taking precedent over veterans, over local residents, and continually, over and over again, you see it, silenced, and here you have a meme, the cat thing, taking precedent priority over the actual situation, the actual trouble of people losing out on services. I have a CBS News from Rochelle, New York, when they had that whole situation in Madison High School. Take a listen. I thought I had it.
A shortage of frustration as parents and community leaders gathered outside James Madison High School, claiming classes never should have been moved online to make room for some 1,900 migrants to temporarily shelter in their gym and auditorium during Tuesday night's storm.
It's inexcusable to do this to the students of New York City high schools, especially after all they've been through with COVID.
Mr. Mayor, you knew this was going to happen. Everyone knew this was going to happen.
The protesters said schools shouldn't be used as shelters and that Floyd Bennett Field, which is located along the shore of Jamaica Bay, is not a good place to house migrants because of its vulnerability to weather events.
So if you remember this at the time, there were especially moms who even came out and said, look, I was never involved in politics. I don't know much. They were livid. And this was an important turning point, that a lot of these moms who were Democrats went all MAGA because they said, this is not going to happen. Remember that when they went in the school, then the school was nasty with excrement in the hallways, and they had to clean it out. It was disgusting. And parents were furious that the priority, once again, and that's the real pattern that we see, the priority was for those migrants. By the way, Elon Musk weighing in, and so he had tweeted out or X'd out, vote for Kamala if you want this to happen to your neighborhood. And he shared like this AI generated photo of a little cute little duckling and a kitten with a caption that said, save them. And so even Elon Musk. So if you've seen this, I just want you to, and maybe you lighthearted it, or you liked it, or maybe you retweeted it. But I just want to give you the facts. And the facts are that it's really not about pets. It's about people. And isn't it a shame that somebody, said, and I have no idea how this all started. Well, I think it started with the gentleman making the claim, that he, in fact, there was a witness to this duckling issue, and then it just kind of spiraled out with kitties. But it's not about pets. It's about people, human beings, children, military veterans, grandparents, senior citizens, and actual U.S.-born citizens. and taxpayers their lives are being interrupted and in upheaval because, to no fault of their own, in Ohio there in this small town, well, it's 55,000+ people, or at least it was, Springfield, that this is now just they have to deal with this and they're inundated, and this is the result of horrible policies by President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. That's what's going on. It's not about pets. It's about people. It's about individuals, and this has to do with their medical care. This has to do with emergency care, and this has to do with the education of their children, something we taxpayers, we pay for this, for our own United States citizens. And so it's not fair. It's not just. And across the country, we are seeing this, and we're seeing the outrage over this. That's the real story. It's sad to me that somebody felt the need to make pretty little kitty memes to make anybody care. I will tell you this, and I have to break because we do have a great guest coming up, a real wonderful guest. You've heard me interview him. It was a while ago. Dr. Ben Carson is in the house coming up at 10:30. But I will say this, and this is my final thought here, and that is that for this entire situation, well, you know what? I'm going to hold it because we have to break. I'll tell you one more thing that you haven't heard this morning about this as we wrap it up.
I like the tease.
Oh, giving you a little tease. And your thoughts on all of this, 855-839-1210. But you heard, Greg Stocker say, no, I don't think he wanted to report on it because there was some fake news infused into it. But that's okay as long as we properly report it and put it into proper perspective and sift through facts versus fiction. I'm Dawn Stensland. Thank you for being here this morning. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
For more expert appliance shopping advice, here's National Appliance Warehouse's own appliance guru.
Hello, let's talk premium. These are top-of-the-line appliances that dream kitchens are made of. If you're planning an investment like this in your home, where you buy is as important as what you buy. At National Appliance Warehouse, we're committed to delivering the superior buying experience you deserve. Our showroom features beautifully displayed premium appliances of every major brand, including highly sought-after Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Cove. Our team of gurus is well-versed at guiding you as you navigate the same appliances you'd find in the most magnificent homes and kitchens of cooking enthusiasts. And the National Appliance Warehouse team has the expertise to properly deliver and install your stunning new appliances.
The Labor Day Mega Sale is extended at National Appliance Warehouse. Purchase a qualifying Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Cove appliance package and choose 3 years of additional warranty or a rebate up to $2,500. Click nationalappliancewarehouse.com or visit their showroom in tax-free Wilmington today.
Got a roofing problem? Don't let it ruin your day.
Emmons Roofing and Siding offers professional roofing services, from repairs to complete lifetime warranted replacements.
And you can trust our experienced team to keep your home safe and secure. And we can even handle insurance claims for you.
Give us a call today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on the web at callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
With NJ Diet, you can lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. They have customers that have lost 37 pounds, 100 pounds, and over 120 pounds, and they've kept it off. You'll have more energy, and you'll probably see better lab results. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work to provide you personalized natural formulas and supplements so you can lose the weight, and DNA testing will help you keep it off. Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days, contractually guaranteed. Go to njdiet.com.
Have you heard all the talk about fresh pet food? Well, at Dogs and Cats Rule, when it comes to fresh, healthy ingredients, we lead the way. Hi, I'm George Parenti, and I'm here to tell you there's nothing better nutrition-wise than fresh food for your pet. Stop in to one of our 7 neighborhood locations and ask our expert staff how a real, fresh, meat-based diet can change your pet's overall health and well-being. Shop online at dogsandcatsrule.pet. Dogs and Cats Rule. Shop small, shop local, shop family.
You love your city, but let's be honest, the commute, not so much. That's where the free Odyssey app can help. Download the app and follow your local news station so you can get the latest traffic reports or find if your train is on time before you walk out your door. Knowing all this gives you time to think about the essential things like, do I have time to get coffee? Download the free Odyssey app and search your local news station. That's AUDACY.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Better water leads to a better everyday experience. With treated water from Martin Water Conditioning, you can experience silky smooth skin, refreshed hair after a morning shower. Your clothes and towels feel softer. They're no longer battered with minerals. Your coffee and teas taste better. Your appliances using water lasts longer. Even before you leave your home, your entire morning experience is improved with better household water. If you want to experience better water, call Martin Water Conditioning 800-887-7555 or go online at martinwater.com.
Hey, daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Times have changed and times are strange. Here I come, but I ain't the same. Mama, I'm coming home.
Don't mess with Mama, especially Mama Melania. So, for anybody who thinks that she is somehow weak because she is feminine, because she is a lady, because she has class, you are wrong if you think that Mama Melania is weak. She's not. She released another video. Thank you, Dan, for finding this. As she's speaking out. And in the headlines, Melania goes full truther on Trump assassination bid.
Come on, are you serious?
I swear, my hand to God. And this is every day until Election Day and beyond. I cannot any longer be surprised by the new low that the media, so-called mainstream media, is going to with media bias. But they're just all out right now. That's what we are experiencing, and that's why it's so important that everybody knows the facts and hears the truth, so that if you're anywhere and you hear some of these lies and so on and so forth, that you can just give the facts, right? Because don't get emotional, don't get triggered, just give the facts, and then tell people, hey, look it up for yourself, because you are being played, you are being lied to. So once you hear those headlines, as far as and awful headlines, here is truly what Melania Trump said.
The attempt to end my husband's life was a horrible, distressing experience. Now, the silence around it feels heavy. I can't help but wonder, why didn't law enforcement officials arrest the shooter before the speech? There is definitely more to this story, and we need to uncover the truth.
So there she is, former First Lady Melania Trump. I'm renaming Mama Lydia, Mama Melania. She's demanding answers today. This is just out, a developing story, but she has every right as a wife, because you know what? I'm sure she's thinking, but for about a fourth or an eighth of an inch, but by what account you want to listen to, she would be widow Melania. And you heard Trump at one point at one of the rallies, I believe, saying that Melania couldn't yet even talk about it. So this is the first time that she is speaking out about this over her husband's assassination attempt, something that made American history, something you won't hear in the media. They don't want to talk about this, as she is questioning law enforcement's role in the bloody ordeal. Now, moving forward, I am going to talk a lot about law enforcement, and we'll talk to Michael Chitwood. We'll talk to others about this and hear from you. If you are with police, law enforcement, I would love to hear from you. And you can use a different name as far as, some of these stories that are breaking. We'll weave in later on Tyreek Hill and that situation, as well as the firing of a Pennsylvania State Police trooper who, in a similar fashion, found himself in a similar fashion during a traffic stop right here locally. So we'll talk about all of that. But she says her silence around this, the silence around this feels heavy. I will point out to you, I don't believe that she's not talking about the local Pennsylvania law enforcement. That's not who she's talking about. She, in my opinion, maybe you disagree, 855-839-1210, I feel that Melania Trump is referring to, at the federal level, they knew that there was someone who they arrested, right, who was activated, who was a so-called hitman, who had been hired by, terrorists, if you will, terrorist organizations in the Middle East. He was coming from the Middle East, and he was a hitman who was, thank God, he was arrested, but that was right before the situation in Butler, Pennsylvania. And so you put all of this together, and by the way, they delayed the reporting of that, right, to space it out. So if you know that the former president of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, is in Butler, Pennsylvania, and you just arrested a dude who is apparently a hired hitman because of this is retribution dating back to Trump's hit on the head of terrorist Soleimani, right? So this all weaves back to the Trump administration and Trump taking out terrorism and dealing with terrorists in the only way that perhaps you can deal with them is because they understand violence. And so he silenced it. He shut it down. As he has said, well, we now learned that reportedly there was a hit out on Trump. So Melania now learns this. You think of that. She has every right. I also love the way she speaks. I want to hear the truth because the truth will set you free, my friend. I love her voice. I do.
You can do the promotion for her book when she has like just her name over it.
I know. I would love. Please, Melania, come. And I would not. It would be rude, I guess, to imitate her to her face because she might think I'm being.
All right, give me an impression. You got the music behind you now.
This is Melania. Mama Melania, your MAGA mama. You must find the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Here's a little bit more from Melania. This is on Sunday, Dawn.
The 2020 election results changed our lives forever. It impacted our quality of life, cost of food, gasoline, safety, and even the geopolitical landscape. America is more divided today than ever before. It has become increasingly apparent that there are significant challenges to free speech, as demonstrated by the efforts to silence my husband.
The efforts. You listen to her. I love the way she speaks. And quite frankly, let's just be honest here. If Melania Trump had a D behind her name, or her husband had a D behind her name as far as being a Democrat, she would be all over the place. I love the way she speaks. I love her voice, her accent. I mean, she's beautiful, the way she moves. And that's why they hate her, right? Because she's like flawless. She's so graceful and perfect. And they hate her. But they're like, ugh, we want to get a bad picture. We want to make her look bad, but ugh, we can't. And so that makes them crazy. And I love that. But I know I'm a fangirl. I've been imitating her for, 9 years now with Zioli. So someday I'll have the honor of meeting her as I met then President Trump in the Oval Office, and also the honor of Dr. Ben Carson in the House coming right up. So we'll get Dr. Carson's take, as the doctor's in the House, and get his take on all of this unfolding, not just media bias, but really focusing in on the big debate tonight, right here in Philadelphia. Be right back.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Donald Trump's back, and he's out for control.
I would have every right to go after them.
Complete control.
I will wield that power very aggressively.
And he has a plan to get it.
Detailed plans for exactly what our movement will do.
It's called Project 2025, a 922-page blueprint to make Donald Trump the most powerful president ever. Overhauling the Department of Justice, giving Trump the unchecked power to seek vengeance, eliminating the Department of Education, and defunding K-12 schools, requiring the government to monitor women's pregnancies, and Trump has also proposed severe cuts to Medicare and Social Security. Those are Donald Trump's plans.
Well, revenge does take time, I will say that. And sometimes revenge can be justified.
He'll take control, we'll pay the price.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message. Paid for by Harris for President.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Get your child or grandchild ready for back to school and a great upcoming school year. Now's the time to call Kathy Ganna and METC. Get a game plan in place. Call the Motivational Educational Tutoring Company. For over 30 years, METC's tutoring studio, founded by educator Kathy Ganna, has helped people of all ages to grow personally and academically. Call Kathy at 215-493-4200. METC offers motivational SAT prep as well as academic skills and leadership training. Now's the time to get assistance for your child to help them succeed. Visit online at METC.com. Call METC's tutoring studio 215-493-4200 or email Kathy directly at info@metc.com. Remember, 1210 listeners get a free 1-hour consultation. Take advantage of this opportunity to help your child get one-on-one help. Call 215-493-4200, 215-493-4200.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535, 800-511-3535, or biglou.com.
Free speech lives here with Don Stensland, 10 till noon on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Yes, our favorite doctor, Dr. Ben Carson, former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, brain surgeon, and of course, author. I believe Dr. Ben's latest book, and I know you have multiple books, but Dr. Carson, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So your latest book, I know, came out, I think, last May, June, The Perilous Fight, Overcoming Our Culture's War on the American Family. I think I had talked to you about it then. But today, I do want to get to the book, by the way, but I also want to talk about your take, Dr. Carson, on today in Philadelphia, because not far from where I'm broadcasting live from Odyssey World Headquarters, just basically down the street, the road closures, protesters and demonstrators will soon gather. And we have, of course, former President Donald J. Trump, current Vice President Kamala Harris will be in the House there at the National Constitution Center. Can you take me through what you're watching for and what you expect to see this evening?
This will be a very big debate because it's unique in the sense that one of the candidates, no one knows. No one knows what her policies are. Mm-hmm. And will she, in fact, articulate what those policies are, or will she continue to run away from her past record? You have one candidate who's standing on his record and one that's running away from the record, and each trying to convince people that they're the ones to vote for. So what I'm going to really be looking for is who can articulate what they actually believe right now and why they believe it. That's going to be the real key with Kamala. If she does articulate a policy, ask her, and Donald Trump will have to do it because the moderators won't, why do you believe that? And why did you believe something else previously? What's the difference? Now, of course, she doesn't believe anything that's different. That's the very reason that you don't see a lot of anger on behalf of the far left. She's already signaled to them that her values haven't changed, which is just her way of saying, don't worry, we got this. Mm-hmm. And I'll say what I need to say in order to get elected, but you know who I am. That's basically what she's saying. And that was really confirmed by Bernie Sanders this weekend on one of the shows. Yes. He said, she will say what she needs to say to get elected.
Yeah, she's the say anything candidate. Dr. Carson, as I look at this and I think of, the sliver of voters at the end of the day who apparently will end up deciding this next election, do you foresee surprises in the Hispanic community, the African American community, and even within women being split over a candidate who, yes, is a proven winner in a time when we have a very tough economy? Everybody everywhere is talking about it, especially back to school. And then on the other hand, the women's issues, the left calls it the reproductive rights so-called issues.
Well, I do see a surprise because many of those groups that you just mentioned have shown that they are moving more toward the center. They're moving more toward Donald Trump's ideologies. But when that happens, there's also a group of them who won't say it because they're afraid that there may be consequences for them. Mm-hmm. So I think you're going to see a much bigger vote than anybody expected for Trump because people won't admit that they actually like him and agree with his policies because they're afraid. That's a problem.
Do you think, Dr. Carson, that in essence, in certain communities, people will, going just based on what you just said, maybe just feeling like Kamala Harris, is not authentic or doesn't reach a lot of people or inspire them? And so do they just stay home? I think that's the fear here in Philadelphia among Democrats, that even though even though we'll have no doubt Barack Obama and all the stars and all of that, but this is not Barack. This is not Michelle. This is somebody who they don't know, don't trust.
Yeah, I think probably that's a legitimate concern for them. But I think the American people are smarter than anybody gives them credit for. And I think a lot of them realize that this is not so much about Democrats and Republicans as it is about people who believe in our founding principles, believe in this country, versus those who want to fundamentally change us. And they've been around for a long period of time, but the circumstances have presented themselves where they can manifest themselves now. And that's why it seems like over the last few years there's been this radical change. It's just that it's been easier to express in these last few years, but it's been there for a very long time. And all you'd have to do is, look at the congressional record from January the 10th, 1963, see the 45 goals of communism that were read into the record by Congressman Herlong of Florida. Most of those things have been accomplished now. And you can see a market shift in who we've become as a country. And our leadership is sorely lacking in the world. That's why you're seeing all of these countries revert back to suppressing freedom of speech and some of the other things that we have stood for, because the banner carrier, us, has just not been present.
And that really brings me to talking about, the fact, I know you were just named as National Faith Chairman of the Trump campaign. I think of when Biden, fairly recently, it's amazing. It's amazing when I think of since late June until now where we've come. But not so long ago this summer, President Joe Biden and his Vice President Harris were in, for example, black churches here in Philadelphia. You don't see that so often, where actually you have candidates who are brought forth to a pulpit and that sort of thing in Christian churches. So take me through what it means to you. And first of all, I think you're perfect. You're so positive energy and a man of faith. But Dr. Carson, what is your intent as you move through this role, as far as being a role model, as far as will you be in churches? Will you be speaking out in faith communities?
Well, the founding document of our country, the Declaration of Independence, says that our rights come from our Creator, a.k.a. God, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And the things, the Judeo-Christian values that say love your neighbor, not cancel your neighbor if they have a different yard sign, those are the things that brought us together and created incredible strength and unity, which propelled us to the pinnacle of the world in record time. And as we've thrown those things out, look how quickly we're spiraling downward. It's not too late to stop that. And that's what I'll be doing. I'll be, out in these various venues all around our country, helping people to recognize that there's nothing wrong with having values and principles. Nothing wrong with thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, and all these things. And in fact, when you don't do those things, a lot of strife goes out of your life. Maybe there was a reason that God gave us some of these things. Maybe the person who created us knows what brings out the good in us and what brings out the bad.
I love that. I don't remember the Trump campaign in 2016. Was there a national faith chairman, or is this a new position?
No, this is a new position.
So is it new? Is it new, Dr. Carson, since what happened here in Pennsylvania in Butler with the assassination attempt? Because I see Trump more, he's being asked about faith more and kind of opening up about that. And, for people in my personal life, I'll just tell you, sometimes the whole family's praying for them, to find Jesus Christ as their personal savior.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people have prayed for Trump. And is that knock at the door happening for him? And have you seen a change in him since the assassination attempt?
Well, I told him way back in 2016, while we were still running against each other, that he was going to win, which kind of took him back a bit. I said, you're going to win because God is going to use you to help save our country. And he did, because if he hadn't won, Hillary would have gotten 3 Supreme Court picks. Can you imagine what it would be with 3 Supreme Court picks from her? And I've told him that again recently, and I think it really resonates with him. He understands that it's about more than him. Now, the other side is trying to paint him as totally self-centered and only concerned about what's good for him. But when you stop and think about it, when he ran for president, he was already as famous as anybody in the world.
Yeah.
He was already a billionaire. It wasn't anything that was going to enhance anything for him. In fact, he's lost a lot in the process of doing that. So I don't think it's all about him. It sort of comes down to an interview I saw him do about 35 years ago with Oprah. And she said, Donald, would you ever run for president? He said, no, I would never want to get into that unless the country was going off the cliff. And it was going off the cliff. Mm-hmm. And it's still heading off the cliff, and that's why we need him again. And some people say, yeah, but he says nasty things. I don't like him. I could never vote for him. Well, if you were a sick patient, you had a severe disease, could be cured by skillful surgery, would you rather have the surgeon who has a bad bedside manner but saves everybody, or the one with beautiful words who kills everybody?
Wow. That's a tough analogy. I wonder if, because of everything post July 13th and with what you're talking about, is Trump moving more toward talking about faith or positive energy, or just a little more Reagan-esque with being hopeful? Because you think about Reagan and when he swept the country, that was something, and I will say Obama, it was remember, hope and change.
Yes.
But with Reagan, that was a real thing that people felt. Do you think that that's something that you'll see, that we can expect to see this evening, Trump trying to portray a more positive message about the American dream?
I think you will definitely see that. And, of course, the other side will be doing everything they can to get under his skin, to make him angry, to make him react. But I think he knows that they're going to be trying to do that. And he's a smart guy. So I don't think they're going to be able to manipulate him as easily as they think they can.
Dr. Ben Carson, you've been so gracious, as always, with your time. As I thank you, what is your prayer? Because we have to pray specifically. So what is your prayer suggestion for President Donald J. Trump as he faces off in perhaps the only debate this evening with Vice President Harris? What do you want people, or hope that people would pray specifically for this evening?
I pray that he would be able to continue to see the big picture and why he is there, And I also pray that the eyes of the American people will be open so that they won't be so easily subject to gaslighting.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dr. Ben Carson, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Really appreciate you.
Always good to be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Carson. And again, this is the first time I've interviewed him since he was named as National Faith Chairman of the Trump campaign, a brand new position. I think it's important that former President Trump actually created that position, and it's tailor-made for Dr. Ben Carson. Just love him and love his positive energy. Just ahead, I have some breaking news about 18-year-old Barron Trump and his first day of college at New York University's Stern School of Business. So breaking news on that front I want to bring to you is his mom, Melania Trump, or dad, Donald J. Trump. Are they reacting to that? We want to share that with you. And this on just such a beautiful day as we as we head into the fall, thinking about holiday plans. When it comes to your home, trust is everything. For 45 years, Kitchen Magic has built a reputation for transforming kitchens with precision and care, from custom cabinets to countertops, backsplashes. What about those storage solutions? Kitchen Magic gets the job done and fast. In just a few days, your dream kitchen becomes a reality without all the hassle. You can trust the name your neighbors have relied on for decades, Kitchen Magic. Go to kitchenmagic.com, get your free in-home consultation. Put this on the calendar, kitchenmagic.com. Let's cook up something extraordinary. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey everyone, it's Donald Trump Jr. Join me and Dom Giordano Thursday, September 12th at the Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood, New Jersey for the next Politics and Pints with WPHT. We will talk all things Trump, the 2024 election, and my father's book, Letters to Trump. South Jersey and PA suburbs are hugely important to electing Donald Trump president. Just head to 1210WPHT.com for tickets right now. Hope to see you there.
Harry, if you watch any more of those stupid financial shows, I'm filing for divorce.
How am I going to keep up with our retirement accounts?
At JML Financial Group, we want you watching your grandkids playing soccer and sunsets in Hawaii, not the latest rumor of a market crash. Surprisingly, with proper income planning, the stock market shouldn't even be a concern. The money came in every 2 weeks while you worked. It should be the same in your retirement years. Let us show you how. Call JML Financial Group today at 856-925-6674. That's 856-925-6674. Or at jmlfinancialgroup.com. So, when your neighbor's sunbathing in the front yard,
Harry, you're an idiot. Get away from the window.
keep your eyes focused where they should be, on enjoying your retirement. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Bob Casey, a familiar name, but ask yourself, what's he done for you and your family? In his 18th year in Washington, what's Bob Casey got to show for it? He made sure COVID relief checks could go to convicted felons. You heard that right. Bob Casey made sure COVID checks went to convicted felons. When reasonable people tried to stop murderers and rapists from getting checks, Casey voted no. Even the Boston Marathon bomber ended up with a big fat check. Casey voted the party line instead of using some common sense. And with families struggling to pay the bills, Casey had this to say about throwing around their tax dollars.
Go big or go home.
Bob Casey went big. He botched it. And it's time for him to finally go home. Bob Casey is wrong for Pennsylvania. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are having two fabulous back-to-school specials. The 2024 S60 front-wheel drive sedan and the exciting electric C40 each can be leased for 36 months for $369. Do-it inception would be a down payment and taxes and registration fees. But in New Jersey, the C40 has no tax. The $369 is an incredible payment on each of these Cherry Hill Volvos. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo. Our team would be honored to partner with you.
The sensational Sarah McLachlan, live in Atlantic City. celebrating 30 years of fumbling towards ecstasy. Performing the album in its entirety, plus her greatest hits, for one incredible night. With special guest, Tiny Habits. Live at Borgata Hotel Casino and Spa. Friday, October 25th. Get tickets now at theborgata.com.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/gutter to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/gutter. That's leaffilter.com/gutter.
Hey, Clementon. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
Headlines this morning and I'll give you the headlines here. Barron Trump arrives at NYU, and that was for his first day of college. I told you about that 6 days ago. But the latest headlines, Daily Beast, Barron faces NYU professors who signed a letter, and the letter is old news that I've talked about before, and I'm sure we all talked about it, a letter by these different Ivy League schools that condemn Trump. And then raw story, unfit to lead, Barron Trump's new NYU professors publicly speaking out about condemning his father. I think that they're taking what it appears, even the raw story, these are misleading headlines because these are people who years ago then had condemned President Donald J. Trump. However, the news story is that Barron, the 18-year-old, met with the interim dean of the business school that Trump recently, and you played the audio, Dan, where Trump recently said this is an excellent school, a business school, and Barron decided on this. He was accepted into many schools, and I believe, was he accepted into University of Pennsylvania because this is breaking with a tradition in the Trump family. Most of the Trump kids obviously went to UPenn. I remember when Ivanka was here, and of course she was on. They loved her and gushed over her, and she was on the cover of local magazines and all of that. And then Eric did not go here, though. I think Don Jr. did, and Tiffany also graduated from UPenn. But according to the reports, if you remember the letter back in the fall of 2020, Harvard, Yale, Cornell, Columbia, the usual suspects, they all were saying, nasty things about Trump or condemning him, etc. But in this story,
I do have the audio of Trump there if you wanted that.
I hope that in this story, we'll get to audio in just a second. My hope is that when 18-year-old Barron Trump, when he met on his first day of college at NYU with the Stern School of Business interim dean, my hope is that that's because this interim dean, J.P. Eggers, hopefully met with him and said, welcome to the school. Hey, I know 4 years ago I was one of the signers of this. We welcome you. Hopefully it's like a gracious, good thing. I cannot imagine that it's anything other than that. So I'm always half glass full. But you had some audio of Trump talking about the Stern School of Business.
He was accepted to a lot of colleges. He's a very smart guy. And he'll be going to Stern, the business school, which is a great school, at NYU.
What clinched the decision?
Just, it's a very high-quality place. He liked it. He liked the school. We like NYU. I've known NYU for a long time. But it's one of the highest rated.
You think he's living on campus?
Or is he living in Trump Tower? So technically he's a commuter. See?
Imagine inviting a date over to the penthouse of Trump Tower.
Oh, my gosh.
Take her for a ride through
Mom, you got to
Park.
leave me alone. I got a date coming over. Can you imagine?
How big is their spot in?
It's huge.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like multi-floors?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And that's just it. on November 5th, no matter what happens, Trump and his family, they win because he's still a billionaire. He still goes back to, Mar-a-Lago and lives his best life. It's us. We're the losers if Trump loses. I'm just saying. But just a quick reminder, Trump, remember, his team called on the Stern School of Business to certify that his business accounting was sound in that alleged fraud case filed by New York Attorney General Letitia James. Remember this? And so reportedly, the Stern accounting professor Eli Bartov was paid, and it's a reported $900,000 by the whoever Trump Save America PAC to testify, which experts paid it. They're paid experts, and that's transparent information. But that was Stern, so that's why I think the meeting that went down with the youngest Trump son and the interim director, I'm sure it went well, and they are welcoming him with open arms. So I hope he wins everybody over. Your thoughts, 855-839-1210, the number to call. You think about this month, and wow, what beautiful weather. We're in the 80s this week, lower humidity, crisp, cool, kind of feels like fall, but warming up. And then this weekend, what an incredible weekend for one of the last summer road trips you may take. Do you know if your vehicle's road trip ready? My friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, they're going to help make sure that you and your family are safe out on the roads. These service centers of the Piazza Premium dealers not only handle all your regular maintenance needs, but they're going to diagnose possible issues before they happen, and certainly before you hit the road. So schedule that service appointment online today. Visit PiazzaPremiumAutomobilestoday.com. So it's PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com for that dealer nearest you, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, PIAZZA. PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Tired of hearing scary ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. We may be able to significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe to the IRS. Taxpayers should know. Huge savings are now being made available through the Fresh Start program that can drastically reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. Even if you haven't filed your taxes in years or are facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, or under audit, we can help. We've earned over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today. To see what savings you may qualify for, visit us online at TRA.com or call us at 800-511-0379, 800-511-0379. Again, that's 800-511-0379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I have a serious heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. I still had symptoms on my beta blocker, so I asked my cardiologist about any treatment advances. It was a breakthrough for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today and visit hcmrealtalk.com for more information.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb.
Virtua Health, real patients, real doctors, real complex cases. Take one.
I received a kidney transplant at Virtua Health.
Transplants are some of the most complex procedures in medicine.
I thank them for keeping me alive.
We are the only transplant center in South Jersey.
And Virtua is one of the best centers in the country for minimally invasive orthopedic surgery.
I had the hip replacement of the future. I'm back, baby.
Want to follow our stories? Go to virtua.org. Virtua Health, here for good.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Are you ready? Because I'm ready for more NFL, and FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook, is continuing its special offer to keep us watching more. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account, current form of payment. You can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/Dom, FanDuel.com/DOM to download America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. Full price of NFL Sunday ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Do you have shoeboxes full of photos? Today only, radio listeners get VIP access to the new Photo Legacy Box. Get your family's photos professionally scanned for as low as 7 cents, which is 76% less than what other brands charge. As the world's largest digitizer, you know you can trust Legacy Box to digitize your entire collection of 4x6 photos. Everything from the embarrassing haircut you had in the 90s to photos of your great-grandma's wedding. Visit legacybox.com/value to get 200 photos scanned starting at just $19.95. Oh, and don't forget, Legacy Box also digitizes over 15 other types of analog media, so you can get your favorite memories on VHS or grandpa's film reels from the 40s digitized too. Take advantage of this exclusive offer on the new Photo Legacy Box today and preserve your past for as low as 7 cents. Go to legacybox.com/value. That's legacybox.com/value.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Don Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Fact-checking this evening's lead moderator of ABC News, David Muir. Is he fair? Will he give Trump a fair shake? We'll look at those numbers. Those numbers are in. We'll look at that. Locally, we do have 4 juveniles, 4 youths, some as young as 12 years old, under arrest, taken into custody after posting threats on social media, according to local police, leading to the closure of multiple school districts in the suburbs in South Jersey yesterday, back to school today. But we learned that the latest arrest of the fourth arrest, a 12-year-old from Woodbury, a juvenile from Glassboro, as well, a 15-year-old from Mullica Hill. They are among the 4 under arrest in custody in connection with those social media threats that we told you about that forced the shutdown of schools across the region. And not just the schools, high schools, junior high schools, middle schools, Catholic schools, but as well the transportation shutdown, which affected other people, and then the sports afterwards, which means some JV games. Some kids did not have games, and especially the JV football, etc. And so it's highly unfortunate that happened, but kudos to local police who are being credited by the community as they quickly and swiftly investigated that, got suspects into custody, and they're being charged with very serious charges. So will they be expelled from school? Will we learn their names? What do those charges look like? We want to get into that, but I just want to put that on your radar. And then can you compare that? No, you can't compare it to what's going down in Georgia as we learn more that was so preventable. And there's new video, new audio being released that just breaks your heart when you think about it, that they had this on their radar and they just didn't follow up, did not communicate fully with the school. And many in the community speaking out saying you could have saved the lives of 2 children and 2 teachers if you had just properly communicated with everybody and let the school know. So that tragedy continues to unfold. We'll get into that. And then what a heartbreaking situation, as we heard, especially a young widow speaking out. And this is the tragedy involving NHL star, Johnny Gaudreau, his brother Matthew Gaudreau, both of them leaving behind widows. Matthew, the younger brother, his wife pregnant with their first baby, who he'll never get to meet. And then, of course, should we play a part of this? This is Johnny Gaudreau's widow, and just not a dry eye during this beautiful church service.
John and I had the best 6 months as a family of 4. These will forever be the best 6 months of my life. There's specifically 1 week that I will cherish forever and will be my favorite week of my life out of those 6 months. We're actually a family of 5. I'm in my 9th week of pregnancy with our 3rd baby. A total surprise, but again, John was beaming and so excited. I was so nervous because this was, again, a total surprise, but his reaction was just immediately kissing me and hugging me, even though I was driving the car. After the initial excitement sank in, every time he looked at me, he would just say, "You're nuts, you know that?" 3 kids. Noah, our oldest, hasn't even turned 2 yet. In less than 3 years of marriage, we've created a family of 5. It doesn't even sound possible, but I look at it as the ultimate blessing. How lucky am I to be the mother of John's 3 babies? Our last one being a blessing and so special, despite these difficult circumstances. To my babies, Daddy loves you all so much, and you have the best daddy in the world.
It's Meredith Gaudreau, John's wife, and revealing right there, as you heard, that she's pregnant with their 3rd baby. So it's just your heart our prayers are with you, to the Gaudreau family. And Meredith and Madeline Gaudreau. Madeline is Matthew's widow. I should keep saying wife, but widow, these young widows. And of course, John Gaudreau, 31, Matthew, 29, beloved by everybody you talk to who had any encounter with them. And, these were loving, you hear them, family men, loving brothers, loving husbands, and known for always putting their families above hockey, above everything else, and had their perspectives in the right place. And what about the alleged drunk driver accused of killing them, taking all of this away from these beautiful families?
I can't believe the guy would sigh when he had his first hearing, and the attitude that he put up there. It's
sick.
It's sick.
You just
sick and so
wonder
tragic.
why. This beautiful memorial service was at St. Mary Magdalene Catholic Church. Hundreds packing in for the service, and many, you saw children in those number 13 Gaudreau jerseys, and Johnny Hockey, as he was well known. So it's just, you can't even wrap your brain around it. This Friday, the 13th, I should mention, that accused drunk driver will face a court. So he has remained behind bars, which I think, I'm thankful for that he's still jailed pending the September 13th upcoming hearing this Friday. His name's Sean Higgins, faces 2 counts of death by auto, along with reckless driving, possession of an open container, and consuming alcohol in a motor vehicle. So outrage. Yeah.
Sorry to use that language, but for real. Hey, producer note, Mike Chitwood, former Philadelphia police officer, great sheriff down there in Florida, is going to join us in about 10 minutes to talk about the Tyreek Hill situation. I just got a text, you got it too, from a friend of the show, Guy Shiraki.
Hey, Guy, thank you.
He said he was there at the funeral. Meredith's dad and him are friends of 25 years, leads his gospel group. Would you want him to hop on around 11:30 to hear his recap there?
Yeah, would love that.
Cool,
thanks, Guy. Guy Shiraki, thank you. And we think about, you remember Chitwood from his Delco days, and that he takes me way back, but very plain spoken, very popular here for sure. By the way, just to wrap up this, there still is a GoFundMe page to support Madeline, who's pregnant with the couple's first child. She's Matthew's widow, and that GoFundMe it's going to close in on $700,000 with donations from thousands and thousands of people. So keep the Goudreau family in your prayers, and Guy Shiraki will sound in. And when is Michael Chitwood?
He's going to be joining us in about 6 or 7 minutes now. Yeah.
So we'll talk, we want to put things in perspective, thinking about police, law enforcement, policy. We talked a lot about it this morning, about this Tyreek Hill. If you were watching over the weekend, we were watching Red Zone, and they came on and said, yeah, Tyreek Hill, he was detained. And we were like, what? And it was interesting how they said, it was pretty quick. They resolved it. But there's more to it, of course, and this is playing out. So we'll talk about all of that.
NBC Today cut if you want to.
Yes, let's listen.
It went from 0 to 60 immediately, man.
The Miami Dolphins wide receiver sitting down with NBC News, along with his wife, speaking out on the incident that started when he was pulled over on Sunday.
You're speeding. Don't knock on my window like that. Why you have it up? I have to knock to let you know I'm here. That way you can lower it and talk to you. Just get my ticket, bro, so I can go. I'm finna be late, gang. Do what you gotta do.
In the video, you can see Hill roll up his window. He's ordered to lower it again before the situation quickly escalates.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now.
The seat go down, so it's almost like you got to push up to get out. You know what I'm saying?
When we tell you to do something, you do it.
That officer, obviously he was having either a bad day or he just wanted to have a power trip over me.
Miami-Dade police have ordered an internal affairs investigation and placed one officer on administrative duties, but did not ID them. Hours later, Hill scored an 80-yard touchdown in the Dolphins' season-opening win.
Oh, he's a ghost!
Celebrating like this after the TD with a mock handcuffing on the field.
What message were you hoping to send with that celebration?
Like I said, man, you got to learn how to laugh and have a good time, man.
Some of Hill's teammates stopped to help. One of them, defensive lineman Calais Campbell, was also temporarily detained. Hill believes the incident could have ended differently if he were not a superstar athlete.
Worst case scenario would have been shot, or either you would have been locked up.
So, it's interesting, depending on where you get your news, right? NBC Sports, they write, the body cam video from the Tyreek Hill detainment shows an extreme punitive reaction to the perception that Hill was not being cooperative and compliant with police officers. It became, in my view, less about securing his cooperation and compliance and more about teaching him a lesson for not immediately cooperating and complying. So that's, that gives you a sense of, how people are split along these lines. I know that the Miami Dolphins, the Miami, team, and they were personally, some of those players were critical of law enforcement. If you watch it, and these are some of the questions we want to, pose to Michael Chitwood, and if you are in law enforcement, because thank goodness these officers, 2 of them, I believe, Hispanic, and 1 officer African American, and at one point, and we played this earlier on Kalen Company, at one point, you hear him say, I'm just a black man in America driving a nice car or something to that effect. And the officer pushes back and says, oh, no, bro.
I'm just being a black man, that's it. I'm just being black in America, bro. That's all it is.
We're dark too, brother. We're people of color too. Don't play like that.
I'm just being a black man in America.
But the officer pushing back, good for him. So how will this play out? Because we do have only one of the 3 officers there is now on desk duty. So will he meet the same fate as a Pennsylvania state trooper here in Philadelphia who was unfortunate enough to pull over the first LGBTQ plus czar under the Sherelle Parker administration? And what's the difference in those cases? So, that's some of what we'll be breaking down. 855-839-1210. Your take. Be right back.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Better water leads to a better everyday experience. With treated water from Martin Water Conditioning, you can experience silky smooth skin, refreshed hair after a morning shower. Your clothes and towels feel softer. They're no longer battered with minerals. Your coffee and teas taste better. Your appliances using water lasts longer. Even before you leave your home, your entire morning experience is improved with better household water. If you want to experience better water, call Martin Water Conditioning, 800-887-7555, or go online at martinwater.com.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, in Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola, tailgating and watching the birds. It doesn't get any better. So stop by your local PA Fine Wine and Good Spirits store and save $1 on cases of Jack and Coke and Jack and Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, along with Jack Honey and Lemonade, Jack and Ginger Ale, and Jack and Tennessee Apple Fizz. All ready to drink in a can. Jack and Coke, born for the tailgate. Please drink responsibly. Whiskey Specialty, 7% ABV. Jack Daniels Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Jack Daniels Little Number 7, a registered trademarks of Jack Daniels Properties, Inc. Coca-Cola is a trademark of the Coca-Cola Company.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Not yet. Do it today. Okay. At 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
Yeah, Bad Boys. Is Tyreek Hill a bad boy, a good guy? Is he a victim? His agent would say that, oh, these cops down there in Florida deserve to be fired, essentially. And so what do you make of it all? 855-839-1210. Police are still under fire and under the microscope. And you wonder here in Philadelphia why we have this recruitment issue. We're still down, to my knowledge, about 1,000 officers. Somebody who you may remember, especially back in my Fox 29, 10 o'clock news days, somebody I interviewed often, and we really relied on a trusted source, Michael Chitwood, Delaware County, DOCO, and is now in one of my other favorite parts of the universe in Florida. But Michael Chitwood is sheriff of Volusia County now in Florida. So thanks for being here. Hi, Michael.
How are you doing, Dawn? I think you got me confused with my father there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michael Chitwood. Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
I'm the better looking younger one.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry. You know what I did? Brain. My bad. My bad. Wrong, Michael.
Sorry about that. That's my bad, actually. I gave you that information. How you doing, Junior?
No, that's okay.
Well, that's okay, because, Dawn, you did interview me a lot when I was with the Philadelphia Police Department. So,
look, I have a son, my teenage boys, so I have a son, Michael. So all you Michaels are good. Love you all, right? That's my
There's
story.
Something unique about all us Michaels, I can tell you that.
It's so true. So true. The spirit of a warrior. So, take me through it, what you see with what went down with, and I know it's the subject of a lot of debate, and depending on where you get your news from, depending on which clip you see, there are people from all walks of life sounding off about this arrest. And first of all, I'm just going to say, thank goodness for the body cam for these officers.
Yeah, exactly. I was lucky. I was the police chief in Daytona Beach for almost 10 and a half years before I got elected sheriff, and we were one of the first police departments in the state, not only the state of Florida, but in the country, that went to full body camera implementation. So when you talk about knowing the ins and outs of body cameras, I tell you, I'm one of the people that know that. So you're exactly right. Thank God that they were wearing the body cameras. And that is what I would caution everybody. I know the Miami-Dade interim police commissioner. She is a phenomenal and fair and transparent person. Let her do her review. Let her look at all the body camera footage from all the different angles. Mm-hmm. And then form an opinion. But to look at 30 seconds or 10-second video and say, oh, this is right, this is wrong, you're doing a disservice to everybody that's involved in that.
And so, for this one, though, I was concerned for that one officer, not all three, were good because one was put on administrative duty. Because at first I thought, okay, maybe that's a standard operating procedure in that department. But then I thought, only one, to my knowledge, was on administrative duty. Is that a bad sign for this officer?
I don't think it's a bad sign. I think she's doing it to protect him from getting involved in anything else. Plus all the media scrutiny that's on top of him, everything he would be trying to do, he would be being followed around. So I think it's a pretty good decision. Get him off the street, get him out of the line of fire, and let's do the investigation totally. And it's one thing we teach our recruits in the academy is, it's really hard when you come off like John Wayne in the initial encounter to back down. It's easy to ramp up. It's really hard when you come off at 100 miles an hour and now say, well, now I need to drop the speed down on this car stop and drop it down to much further degree.
And so when you see this, and I know that, we're not privy to all the different angles, and that's important that we don't have all the facts before us. But when you see what we're able to see, and a lot has gone viral with the body cam video, did these officers, in your opinion, follow what the training and the procedure would be for this situation?
I think they follow their training per se, because in Florida, and again, we don't know, some outlets are reporting he was stopped for speeding and driving without a license. Well, driving without a license in Florida is an arrestable offense. It's a misdemeanor of the second degree. So, you can theoretically go to jail for being arrested for driving without a license. Most of the times you're not. You're given your tickets and you're given what's called an NTA, notice to appear, before a judge. And, and everybody gets tired of hearing the officer safety thing. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the last 14 or 15 police officers that have been shot and killed this year, they were all ambushed.
Yes.
Sitting in a car, and somebody walks up to you and has a conversation filming you, and you end up dead. The fact, I think the window played an issue in the way the officers responded. He, according to his statement, Mr. Hill, he didn't want the window down because people would be driving by filming him. Mm-hmm. Well, part of that process is when you're stopped, you put the window down, and he said he did the right thing. He kept his hands on the steering wheel. He did all those things. But if you keep the window down and you try to explain to the officer, you're going to go a lot further in that car stop. But on the flip side of that coin, it does appear, from what I'm seeing, it appears that one officer, that one motorist officer, did have a chip on his shoulder when he approached the vehicle. Mm-hmm. And that kind of, everything spiraled out of control from that point in time. And that's why I say you got to watch all the body camera footage and then make your determination from there.
Yeah, because, Michael, we started out this morning and I said, you always see the point of the escalation, but we don't know what was the encounter prior to that. And so that's what I'm just not sure of, because it seems like we missed the first part of what happened. We're only seeing the part where now there's some kind of engagement.
And I will tell you, one of the other beauties with the body cameras, and I don't know what their union policy is down there, but my body cameras, when we use Axon, when the officer hits that, or the deputy hits that record button, it actually recovers 30 seconds prior to that officer actually hitting that button. So there's a buffering effect for our Axon cameras that we set at 30 seconds. So, you capture that 30 seconds that's not there. I don't know if they have that feature, or if their union allows them to have that feature. But, we have it all the time. I mean, I have it here. I've had controversial things here, and the body camera has showed the good, the bad, and the ugly of the stop. But you always implore people, before you form that opinion or inject race into it or inject anything into it, be objective, and let's see everything that comes out. Give the police commissioner down there a chance to sort through all this, and then make your criticism from there.
Yes. And I just want to make your point, as you were talking about the statistics, Michael Chitwood, but the study of the data from the FBI is that between 2021 through 2023, more police officers were killed, and this was criminally killed, than in any other consecutive 3-year period over the past 20 years. And so nearly 200 officers were killed in just a 3-year period. And that's a huge difference from officers in past 3-year periods where tragically you saw, usually on average, it was 60 or 61 officers in 2022, 60 officers in 2023. But the total there, if you look at it, we've seen this hike, this, disturbing spike in these kinds of ambushes and murders of law enforcement officers who are on duty. And so I just want to accentuate that. For you, as you look at this, should officers just be trained differently? I mean, I'm just, my son, full disclosure, my Michael, who's going to Penn State for criminology, and he's rethought, he's now taking a business class. He's like, I don't know. And this is the problem. You have individuals who are still maybe going for their degree. They're thinking about criminology and they're thinking, do I really want to do this and open myself up to this kind of scrutiny? And so do we need to train officers? I'm thinking if I'm an officer and I pull somebody over and they refuse, I'm getting back in my vehicle and I'll radio for, I don't know. You know what I mean? Should we be training officers differently to say, they're not going to comply, but we want to, we want to watch their rights. So we're going to get back in the vehicle.
Well, let me say this to you. Number one, law enforcement now more than ever needs good people to become part of your organization. I'm fortunate down here. I'm one of the very few sheriffs that have their own police academy. So I'm able to screen everybody that we hire from beginning to end. I know, and then they're in class for 1,200 hours where they're under constant supervision of the best and the brightest of my organization. So a lot of it comes down to sometimes, remember, we hire from the human race. No matter how much we train you or how we train you, I can't prevent you from having a bad day. And sometimes that's what some of these encounters come down to. It was just a bad day. But sometimes it's as simple as just following the orders that we give you. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Yes, no. Keep your window down when we can conduct a stop. We can allay our fears that you're not armed. We can allay your fears by we're not going to be overly aggressive in the stop. But if you look at at these stops, overwhelmingly, the person who's the instigator is the person who was stopped. When all you had to do was just say yes, no. Here's my license. Here's my insurance. Stand by. Give me 2 seconds. And I can tell you, and I will say this emphatically. From what I'm hearing, the officer did not know who the hell Tyreek Hill was. He didn't know that. And I'm sure had he just put his window down and said, hey, I'm sorry, what'd you stop me for? We stopped you doing 60 and whatever. Oh, geez, I'm so sorry. I'm late for the game. I'm a receiver for the Dolphins. What do we need to do here? What do you need?
Hey, Sheriff.
And I think that would have set the tone for the entire stop.
Yeah,
Sheriff, question for you, because we got one on YouTube from Jimmy. He's talking about the tinted windows. Curious the legality of tinted windows in Florida and whether this could have all prevented had his windows not been tinted and the officers could see inside that he wasn't loading a gun or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tinted windows are legal down here. I don't know what the grade is, 3%, whatever the grade is, but it is Florida. Everybody has tinted windows. Yeah. It's 95 down here right now where I'm at, and the sun is blistering. So everybody has them, and that's something that when we go out into the public, we try to educate folks when we walk into different communities and say, listen, here's the correct way to act. Unfortunately, I have a great relationship with the NAACP. They bring me into schools and different places and say, look, when you get stopped, here's what you need to do. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, keep your window down, stay calm. You have the right to ask why you're being stopped. You have the right to do this. You have the right to do that. You have the right to ask for a supervisor, and they have to supply one to you. So you just have to remember, you can't adjudicate things on the side of the road. That's when things turn horrible. If you just take a deep breath, everything's going to work out. And the same thing applies to us.
Yeah.
Don't go from 0 to 100. And in this case, there were a bunch of motors officers out there with him. I think, the body camera footage shows at least 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So they're out there running radar. It's opening day in Miami, for crying out loud. There's cops from every police agency in South Florida there. So, and sometimes that's what, sadly, the encounters are that. You have a motorist who's not really following the rules, and you could have a deputy or a police officer who's not having the best of day, and now you're on national news over something that probably could have been handled if everybody looked at it and said, geez, had I done this little thing, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now.
So true. Well, Sheriff Michael Chitwood Jr., thank you so much Thank you so much for joining me. I hope we can chat again. It's great to talk.
Well, all I got to tell you is I'm coming up there for the Eagles game on Monday night, and I'm walking to the stadium. So
drop in, Mike.
I love it. I love it.
Awesome. We'll be in communication, Mike. Let's get that going.
We'd love to have you in the house.
You guys take care.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
You as well.
Bye-bye.
Mike
Bye.
Chitwood. Yeah, sorry about that. That's the thing when you're father and son, and you're Michael Sr., Michael Jr. Great guy.
Gets kind of confuzzled, Junior, senior, yeah.
Great family. Delco family. I should have asked him how many of our local, because he was Philadelphia PD, so how many of our local cops who are leaving here are applying for jobs with him in Florida there? I should have asked him that. So your thoughts on this, 855-839-1210, the number to call, and do you see differences or similarities in what happened here in Philadelphia with a Pennsylvania state trooper who we learned at least 3 months later when he was unfortunate enough to pull over the first ever LGBTQ plus czar, city of Philadelphia, who basically said, "Do you know who I am?" And then very quietly, that trooper was, quote unquote, no longer in employment in Pennsylvania here as a state policeman when he was at the top of his class, reportedly. So we'll talk about all of it moving forward and get your thoughts. Be right back.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano with an easy question. How are your cholesterol levels? Managing healthy cholesterol is a key to a strong heart and overall wellness. For over 38 years, Rescue Natural Supplements has been a trusted ally in helping people reach their cholesterol goals. I've counted on Rescue for years, and with good reason. Their range of supplements designed to meet your specific needs, from omega-3s to red yeast rice and more. Take charge of your heart health today. Use the code DROP at checkout to double your order on any cholesterol product for free. Call today at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com, res-q.com. Remember to use the code DROP to buy one, get one free on Rescue Cholesterol products. Double up your cholesterol support today. Use the code DROP at res-q.com.
The economic uncertainty surrounding this year's election is worse than ever before. But crash-proof consumers rest easy. Their retirement future is election-proof.
I'm Rochelle Porto, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Leading up to the election, we're seeing how bad the economy is and how worried people are. I was looking for a way to secure my investments. That's why I joined Crashproof in 2014. There's no fees, no risk, and growth every year. My principal has never gone down. I've always earned every year. Everything I've earned in that year creates a new principal, so I'm never going to lose what I actually put in. I've got the freedom to live out my dreams, and I've got the peace of mind to know that my retirement's going to go the way I want. No matter what happens on November 5th, 2024, I'm safe. I'm with Crash-Proof Retirement.
Learn how you can election-proof your retirement future. Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the William Penn Inn, September 17th. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Weather sponsored by iParkit.com. Parking made simple.
Classic September weather with cool mornings and warm afternoons continue through the week. Plenty of sunshine today with low humidity, high 81. Tonight, clear and comfortable, low 62 for the city, cooler in the suburbs. And another very pleasant day on Wednesday, plenty of sunshine with a high 81.
Download iParkit for the most convenient way to park at Love Park and throughout Center City. Whenever you're in Center City, iParkit is the easiest parking option for more than 12 parking garages and lots. New accounts get 20% off your first 5 uses when you use iParkit Express. Download iParkit and save.
Yo, Roy is Ford. What? We know your favorite station is 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
The fallout from a traffic stop, should have been a routine traffic stop. Tyreek Hill with his agent now calling for those Miami officers to be fired, to lose their jobs. What's your take? 855-839-1210. Real quick here because we're up against it. I think we have some people, on all sides of the issue. Patrick first. Hey, Patrick.
Hey, how you doing, John?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, so, here's where I'm at. What's confusing is you had just mentioned how the state trooper in Pennsylvania, when he pulled the person over, that they used their position immediately. Yes. And you find that offensive, right?
If somebody says initially, "Do you know who I am?" and that's early on, and that's something that, to my knowledge, that Tyreek Hill did not do that.
Your guest just suggested that he do the same thing that you said was disgusting by that, the city employee. He just said that Tyreek Hill should have said, I'm a Miami Dolphin. I'm on my way to the game. He doesn't have to say a word to the police, and I suggest nobody say anything to the police. They're not your friends. He's driving a $290,000 car, probably even more than that. It didn't come back stolen. What are they pulling the man out of the car for? That was absolutely excessive. They should be fired. That was ego mixed with them probably a little bit upset that they don't have a car like that.
Well, I don't know that, but I will say to you, and I thank you, Patrick, for the points. And we've been talking about this all morning, so if you go back, I think you'll hear me say forgive me, we've been talking about this since 6 o'clock this morning.
6 hours,
So forgive me for that. But I did say earlier this morning, and you heard Sheriff Chitwood agree with that point, not that he necessarily heard me say it, that the first guy, the guy who I suspect's on desk duty, is, and even Sheriff Chitwood said that he feels like that guy in that situation had a bad day or was, could have de-escalated that. And I'm paraphrasing here. But so I would agree with you on that you don't have to say anything. I think legally, I don't know that if you identify yourself as a sovereign, because I once knew somebody who trained police in this area, you technically don't have to give your driver's license. So I would even push back on not having your driver's license nowadays, because in a lot of states you can show a picture of it. So there are a lot of things, a lot of directions I could go in that. So I would agree with Patrick that in this case, if that officer has shown that video and that's really the start of it, that he could probably say, you know what, I probably could have de-escalated that. But at the end of the day, did he defy his training? No, I think that the truth is that if law enforcement pulls you over for allegedly speeding, if that really was happening and they captured that, then that is something they're allowed to stop you for. So I'm kind of split over Patrick. One more real quick, because I know we have to.
Let's go to Guy and get his thoughts on the Tyreek situation in the funeral. Yeah.
We'll go to Guy Shiraki. Hey, Guy, thanks for calling in. I know you were, and my condolences to you, a friend of the Goudreau family. I'm so sorry to hear this, and just to have somebody there at the funeral. Just our deepest condolences.
Yeah. Hey, hi. Good morning, Dylan. Look, you get to be my age, you attend a lot of funerals, and anytime it's for younger people, there's a special sadness, and to have two brothers. There were so many takeaways yesterday. I was there with my wife and our youngest. Many of our children overlapped at St. Norbert's with the Morris family, and we just felt we should be there. And there were so many takeaways. I mean, I'll just share two, but one was because of the size and the logistics of it, a lot of people like ourselves were there early, and a lot of catching up because these two young men that each have, while they're inextricably tied as brothers, they each had been married, and there were different life connections. So a lot of hugging and people recognizing friends. But when the choir singing and the music, but when the hockey players arrived, when the Columbus team arrived, and you saw this parade, if you will, of young men in their 20s, all in black suits, the church just fell silent. You could hear people breathing, because that was sort of our first moment that drove home the tragedy, to watch this dozens and dozens. And what we learned later was it was players from the Blue Jackets. It was also players from the Calgary Flames and other players. And that was the first. And then the second was the overwhelming strength and character of Meredith and Madeline.
Yeah, the widows.
To have the courage to offer remarks in front of 1,000 people there, and thousands and thousands watching live around the country and back in Columbus and Calgary and folks in the Philadelphia area and South Jersey, and how composed and genuine they were. Two overwhelming things, and I think also a tribute to the families, to all the families involved, to the Gaudreaus and Meredith's family, Madeline's family, who married into them, to do this as people of faith in a Catholic church, to do this as a proper funeral, when something of this size with this outpouring could have been held many other places in a non-church setting. So I think it was a tribute to faith, and hopefully the faith in the presence of God helps them, because it was, as I said, you get to be my age and you've seen your share of funerals, but yesterday was truly one of those life-altering moments that really drove it home live.
Guy Shiraki, thank you so much for calling in and sharing your commemoration and celebration of their lives as well. Thanks, Guy. Really appreciate it. It's certainly...
Yeah, I do, and urge everybody to thank them, to think of them, and also, as is often the case, not just today and tomorrow, but a week or a month from now, when the lights and the cameras go away and they're finally all alone, to think of them then as well. So thanks for the opportunity to share, and please keep them in your thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely. Thank you. And as well, to think about, have a conversation about driving under the influence. I mean, that's a good conversation to have. There's no excuse anymore with Uber or what have you, but so to be mindful of that, especially as we head into the fall football season, tailgating, family gatherings, and the upcoming holiday season, to just think about, just a moment of a lapse. Although this guy, allegedly had an open container, it just makes you sick to your stomach. But it's maybe a good time to think about that and be mindful, pay tribute to their lives by stopping future drunk drivers or drivers under the influence. All right, I know a lot
really
of
careful here, but
yeah?
to tie kind of everything together.
Yeah.
And I don't want to equate Tyreek at all to the driver here.
Yeah.
But it's kind of an example as to why these police officers in Miami, even something as simple as erratic driving, why they take it so seriously, because you see the result of when it's not taken seriously play out, like we saw here with the Gaudreau family. So, it kind of lends credence as to, you hear everyone talking about the officers needing to take it seriously. It's because when you have someone driving erratic, you don't know if they're drunk, you don't know if they're high, and, it's a situation that unfolded here. It's sad.
It's true. 855-839-1210. I know some of you want to sound off on the Tyreek Hill police situation, and Patrick, who you heard calling in, well, he was on Team Tariq. What do you think? We'll take your calls, 855-839-1210, give you some updates on this big debate day in Philadelphia with a lot of rolling road closures in Center City because of it, in and around the National Constitution Center. I'm Dawn Stensland. Thanks for being here.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people. We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-575-6481.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Wawa has new Southwest flavors like the roasted chicken fajita veggie quesadilla.
Fajita veggies?
Or the beefsteak burrito with salsa roja.
Salsa roja? Love.
You can also add fire roasted corn and crispy jalapenos.
No way. All from Wawa.
Oh, you bet. Wawa's always keeping things fresh. And this time, it's with delicious Southwest flavors. Try them in a burrito, bowl, or quesadilla and build it just how you like it. Gotta have a Wawa.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Donald Trump's back, and he's out for control.
I would have every right to go after them.
Complete control.
I will wield that power very aggressively.
And he has a plan to get it.
Detailed plans for exactly what our movement will do.
It's called Project 2025, a 922-page blueprint to make Donald Trump the most powerful president ever, overhauling the Department of Justice, giving Trump the unchecked power to seek vengeance, eliminating the Department of Education, and defunding K-12 schools, requiring the government to monitor women's pregnancies, and Trump has also proposed severe cuts to Medicare and Social Security. Those are Donald Trump's plans.
Well, revenge does take time, I will say that. And sometimes revenge can be justified.
He'll take control, we'll pay the price.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message. Paid for by Harris for President.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show and meet Ike Reese.
Archbishop Wood basketball team, it's your boy Ike Reese.
That's Conklin at Wood, September 28th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
JoeConklin.com!
40 days up to 40 pounds. Say it with me, 40 days up to 40 pounds. Visit njdiet.com or call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. 40 days up to 40 pounds. 40 days up to 40 pounds.
At Wawa, you can always find the right drinks for the right time. And Wawa's pumpkin drinks are back sooner than ever, so you can enjoy the best of summer and fall. Enjoy a pumpkin brulee milkshake by the pool. Sip a pumpkin cheesecake smoothie while skateboarding. Or take a pumpkin spice iced coffee on a camping trip. At Wawa, anytime is drink time. And now's the time to feel cool and cozy with Wawa's new pumpkin flavors. Available in milkshakes, cream smoothies, and iced coffee. Gotta have a Wawa.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Debate night in Philadelphia, election day in Delaware, and what is up with a third vehicle in less than a month submerged in the Schuylkill? It's crazy.
What is
so
going
much.
on?
I know. We have to talk about that moving
For real.
forward.
What's happening out there?
Dive team trying to make sure if, and we don't have word if
Wasn't
they
it
found
last
anybody.
time there was some hanky-panky going on?
Yes.
And that's what led to it?
Exactly. There were
Yeah.
two people in a Range Rover, high-priced vehicle.
Yeah.
They had been this was like 3 weeks ago, and they were making out, steaming up the windows, whatever you want to say. Didn't realize they bumped the gears.
Knocked it into neutral, right?
Yep. And I guess they were thinking the earth is moving, but it really was moving, rolling backwards into the Schuylkill River. They were okay, but the person today, this morning, We just don't know. In a Jeep. We
well, let's hope that they're okay.
I know.
Yeah.
Please. Let's get to your thoughts as we wrap up the situation on Tyreek Hill. Frank in the Northeast. Hey, you.
Good morning, Dawn.
Good morning.
One of your last callers, Patrick, he mentioned the cops are not our friends. I totally disagree. I'm a retired cop. I knew even way before I became a cop, you do what they say. If I stop someone, if they show me their license, their owner's card, their insurance card, and they're not an idiot about the whole situation, you give them some leeway because they're nervous and everything. Common sense. They don't get a ticket. You just say, be careful next time. That's all. And if you can't show ID, a cop has a right to take you in the fingerprint to find out who you are. Today they have things they carry with them. They can fingerprint you. But, I mean, comply with what they say. You'll get up with a warning. Simple as that. That's it.
Yeah, and you're retired law enforcement, so you would know. Frank, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yes?
I knew Mike Chitwood also. I met him just briefly back in the mid-'90s in training. He's a real nice guy. He became a big shot detective. Yeah, real nice guy. Mike Chitwood.
Yes. Yeah, he and his dad. Great guys, great Michaels. But, yeah, I agree with you as well. I just think the truth is, had he even said, look, I don't have my license, but I can, I have on my phone, you should always have a picture on your phone, by the way, because that's a nice backup if for some reason you don't have your license or it dropped out of your wallet. But he certainly had some kind of identifying factor, whether it was papers in his glove box, etc. He could have said something that was a little nicer. And I disagree with Patrick in the sense that I think it's okay to say to that officer, I'm rushing to work. I'm rushing to my job. That's not saying, do you know who I am? That's saying I was rushing to get to my job. The coach is going to find me if I, with the team, if I don't get there on time, something of that nature. And so it's just unfortunate. I hope the cop does not get fired, but to have his wealthy agent call for the firing of all the officers, wow, that's way over the top. Because trust me, if any of those NFL players were in trouble, and I know that feeling as far as a break-in or being under attack, and you call those police officers and they show up, man, you just want to hug them. Thank you for being here. And so they are your friend, trust me. 855-839-1210, the number to call. Big debate night and a lot of traffic, rolling closures today in Philadelphia. We're taking center stage, national media here. And for security purposes, we've been talking about the barricades, the fencing, all of that, the perimeters that are happening in and around National Constitution Center. And that is why you want to really just avoid the area, quite frankly, not just Old City, but this will affect the local Vine Street Expressway as well as 676 East, especially because the Ben Franklin Bridge, that traffic will be shut down at some point between 8 and 10 tonight.
I want to underline, too, we're not talking just, slow-moving traffic. We're talking complete standstills, shutdowns. Yesterday, they actually shut down a portion of I-95, and people had to hop onto the median to turn around.
Crazy.
So, yeah, avoid the area if you can, please. And you mentioned also there's a big game today with
6:40.
Phillies versus Rays.
So hopefully the game goes long. But wait a minute, though. Maybe you should have a post-tailgate. You know what I mean?
Might be a good idea. That's what's going to happen is you're just going to have to tailgate in your car, because you're going to be sitting there in traffic as you leave.
Nightmare. They got to figure this out. They got to figure out a better way.
You think it's going to be a fair debate?
No.
No?
No. I mean, you handed me this research, ABC debate moderator, David Muir, ABC, and he is the mostly pro-Harris, positive coverage, 100% positive. That's the headline here. Trump coverage, 93% negative. And so, no, I think no matter what, you're going to hear negativity or they're going to try to spin it in whatever way they can. That's unfortunate. I hope people watch for themselves. But, yeah, I think we all know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump does not get a fair shot. He knows that. We know it. And that's what everybody's up against.
I just really hope the moderators don't turn into a tag team against the president trying to fact check him live like they've done in the past. And I really regret that there's no crowd tonight because I really think the spattering of applause would be mostly in favor of Trump regardless of what happens.
True. I also think, moving forward, though, it's important just to remember that these moments go viral. And so, Kamala Harris, she can't help herself. And that's why. Why do you think they've hidden her? Why do you think they've kept her at a distance? The point is that a lot of what happens is bias by omission. It's what they don't ask this evening. It's the follow-up they don't ask. That's the kind of thing to watch for. And, of course, you should listen to our own Dom Giordano, who will be right there for it all. And so we'll be streaming this live on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Dom Giordano, it's a big night. I look forward to hearing your take and the aftermath of it all.
Well, Dawn, people should just take a look. I got the official credentials here, just back from the media credential. They let anybody into
How
this.
was the traffic heading down there? We were just talking the traffic.
It wasn't bad. I only had to park about 6 blocks away. It was a minor run. I was in there.
Did you
now,
jog?
Dave would have done it in about 2.5 minutes. I should have sent him. Yeah. So, Dawn, we're going to talk at the top of the show. Our buddies in South Philly and the RNC were going to do this flag-waving ceremony for Trump on 6th Street. They're denied. But they're not going to do that to the Hamas crowd. They're still going to protest. So we're going to talk to them about what happened. They're doing it at the airport now, which is going to be a stretch to get people out to the airport. But
That's
we'll
a
see.
sin.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely Don Stensland's sin. And Don Trump Jr. here taking us inside the last-minute debate. Will he tell us what he says to Trump before he goes on, if anything?
Must Listen Dom Show is next.
Do you have $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000 in debt? Then listen to this. You may not be required to pay it all back.
I was drowning in debt.
I had over $36,000 in debt.
If I would have just made the minimum payments, it would have taken me 59 years to pay off.
Whether it's credit card, medical, or personal loan debt, National Debt Relief can help significantly reduce what you owe. In fact, debt relief payments can be 50% less than your monthly credit card payments. That's right, half as much as you're paying now.
National Debt Relief reduced my debt by over $27,000.
With National Debt Relief, you have a powerful team that knows how to talk to your creditors.
National Debt Relief, they got me out of debt.
More than 550,000 Americans have used National Debt Relief to reduce their debt. Call 800-649-6464 to see if you qualify to settle your debt for a fraction of what you owe. 800-649-6464. That's 800-649-6464.
Light up Citizens Bank Park for the final City Connect Friday of the regular season on Friday, September 13th at 6:40 when the Mets are in town.
It is long gone!
Grab tickets now at Phillies.com. Fun, prizes, and surprises are in store for Fan Appreciation Night on September 25th at 6:05 when the Phils host the Cubs, and we celebrate the best fans in baseball. Order tickets now at Phillies.com.
The back-to-school savings event is here at Hesser Chevrolet. Drive away in a 2024 Trax 2RS at $298 for 36 months. Or electrify your commute in a 2024 Equinox LS at $249 for 24 months. Enjoy top-rated customer service and unbeatable deals. Don't wait. These offers won't last. Experience the difference at Hesser Chevrolet, Philadelphia's trusted Chevy dealer. Check us out at HesserChevy.com. Call 267-343-9094 for details.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navien's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
California Psychic.